Thank you for joining us. This is the People's Perspective, and I'm Senator Nia Gill. Joining us today is Joseph Fiordaliso, President of the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. Today, the President is here to talk to us about the many programs and services that BPU has to help people with assistance and relief. Welcome, Mr. President, and thank you very much for joining us today to inform the public. So I guess the first question I'd like to ask you is, can you tell us about the Board of Public Utilities and the services it provides to New Jersey residents?
Sure. And thank you, Senator, for inviting me today. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and for thanking you for providing this public service, because we've been working very, very hard to make people aware of what services we do have. The pandemic, unfortunately, created havoc for so many of our citizens, and they need assistance, many of them, in order to pay their utility bills. And the governor did install a moratorium and so on, but this is all coming to an end now. So what we want, and the message to get across, is that we're here to help you. And I understand that there are many people probably who have never asked for help before.
Yes.
And they may be embarrassed to reach out and seek that assistance. But please, we're here to help. We're one family in New Jersey. And if you need help, we're here to provide it. In the Board of Public Utilities, as you know, is a regulatory body. And we're also the Office of Clean Energy. And we supply and regulate all investor-owned utilities here in the state of New Jersey. So the public services of the world, as an example. New Jersey American Water, as an example. We work very closely with them, and they have been very cooperative in providing assistance and information to our constituents regarding the assistance that is available.
Well, how has the pandemic and current economic climate affected families' ability to pay their utility bills? It's my understanding, if you could tell me, that the public owes over 8 million in unpaid bills, and that's about 1 million customers. Is that?
It's actually 800 million.
800 million. Okay, thank you for
and it's folks got into this situation because, as you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, people started losing jobs on a large scale.
Yes.
And so they naturally fell behind in paying their bills. And so we instituted, through the leadership of the governor, a moratorium, where the utilities would not shut off power or shut off water or anything of that sort just because a person couldn't pay their bill. But we're now at the point where, and we've been doing this for a year now, believe it or not, trying to encourage people to reach out to us, as an example, to reach out to their utility. Their utility is more than willing to assist them and work with them and point them in the right direction. We have upped the limit for a family of four making $106,000 may qualify.
So that means you have pulled in more middle class
Yes.
To help address their issues too. So it's just not low income. This is for all of New Jersey.
That's great. And heretofore, it was primarily geared toward our citizens who were in the lower income status. And but now we have broadened it because of the fact that the pandemic created so many unemployed people throughout the spectrum of our society. And so call your utility, call the BPU, see if you qualify. The utility is more than willing to set up a payment plan for you. It's more than willing to point you in the right direction for assistance from the state. And we can get through this, and we can get through it together.
Could you talk to us a little bit maybe about the home energy assisted program? A little bit about what that does and how that can help?
Yes, there is, as you well know, Senator, we have a winter moratorium on heating, which means from November 15th to March 15th, no one's energy can be shut off. And even if they're behind in their bill.
Does energy include oil bills? A lot of people don't. The oil can the oil company stop delivering oil during that time?
We don't regulate that.
Okay, so that is something that I think was a little confusing with respect to the public, that the oil companies are not regulated.
Yeah, not by us.
Okay.
And but we can tell the public services of the world or the JCP&Ls of the world, wait a minute. Between November 15th and March 15th, you can't shut anybody off. People have to have heat. We can't have people freezing in their homes.
Yes.
And we can't have people trying to decide should they heat their home or should they put food on the table. And some poor people are in that situation. Mm-hmm. And it's our obligation as a society, in my humble opinion, to help those people.
And how does the home energy assistance program help?
It helps by paying a percentage of it, of their energy bill. And what we do is we provide the funding. And it's all administered through the Department of Community Affairs. So we provide community affairs with the resources. They then distribute the money according to certain criteria.
And that criteria for the home energy program would be what, $77,000 for a family of four? Is that a?
That's around the amount of money, yes.
And what can you tell us what the PAGE program?
Yes, this is another program where folks can apply for the PAGE program and get assistance also. And the PAGE program is an independent social service agency, mm-hmm. And again, we contract with them to provide assistance to people who are in need, and there are certain levels of criteria that they have to go by and provide it. Now, you might be asking or thinking in your mind, well, where does the BPU get this money from to issue? Which is a very good question.
Yes.
You and I and everyone else, when we get our energy bill from Public Service, JCP&L, Atlantic City Electric, or whomever, there's a charge on there called SBC, and that's the Societal Benefit Charge. And that Societal Benefit Charge is a small percentage of our bill, each and every one of us, that goes toward helping folks who are in need. And so that's how we get funds. We also get funds from the utilities because each utility is assessed a certain amount of money that they have to pay the BPU. In other words, they have to pay us to regulate them, which is kind of interesting thought when you think about it. But that's the privilege of being a monopoly. So everything's a trade-off.
And our trade-off is that we provide a societal benefit.
That's correct.
Who need it in New Jersey. With the PAGE program also, is that involved with the payment of utilities?
Yes.
Okay. And that's what what is the application process for these different programs? And we will put up the information on the screen, but is there one place to go for these programs to see uh, if you're eligible in the application process?
Yes. They can go directly to their utility, and the
Okay.
utility can point them in the right direction and indicate exactly what they need. They could come directly to us, and we can do the same thing, and so on. And I'm glad you're putting those numbers up on the screen so folks
Yeah.
can see it. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you because we want to help. And and the only way we know you need help is if you let us know that. So please, please reach out to your utility, reach out to us, and there is nothing to be embarrassed about.
And can that process be done online? So I know some people have a hesitancy if they don't know how to fill out the application, but you can fill it out online. And can you get help to
Yes,
fill out the application?
absolutely. If you can't fill it out, we'll certainly assist you in doing that. The utilities will assist you in doing that. Uh, you're not here alone.
That's a and
Let,
it
let,
being able to get assistance to fill it out online is something that a lot of people need, and they may be shy about going online because they may not be computer savvy. And so it's great to have that kind of help.
right, right.
And as we're going into the summer, are there other ways that people can keep down their cooling costs? I guess we're talking heating now, cooling costs.
Well, Senator, as you are well aware, and you've been a supporter of many of our initiatives, which is fantastic. We are engaged. As I said before, the BPU is also the Clean Energy Office of the state of New Jersey. So we're the ones who are driving the offshore wind and the solar and things of that sort. But we're also driving the energy efficiency in cooperation with our utilities. Energy efficiency is extremely important. The cheapest energy is the energy you don't use. So we have various things that people can do to minimize their energy usage. Just putting in energy efficiency light bulbs as an example.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to save you money. The initial cost may be a little more than a regular light bulb, but the average lifespan is about 10 years of these energy efficiency bulbs. So little things like that, you leave a room and shut off the light. I know when I was a boy growing up in the Ironbound section of Newark, if I left a room and didn't shut the light off, boy, my mother gave it to me. And
if we didn't shut the light off, my mother and father would say, "What do you think? We have stock in public service?" Later, I got stock in public service, so I had to leave my light on. But yes, turn the lights off. Those efficiency savings that may sound old school, but certainly are relevant to the future and the climate.
certainly are, and we have a number of tips of energy efficiency steps that people can take and reduce their energy usage because energy is expensive, but it's something that we need. Obviously, I mean, we've seen in storms where folks have been without power for a period of time, and it really reduces our way of life in a negative way. So it's important that we continue to work to enhance our infrastructure, which we have been doing. We continue to work toward more of a clean energy environment, continue to work to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. And I am so thankful that we finally have a partner in Washington who is willing to assist states now, because the states pretty much have been on their own in doing this, and New Jersey has been a leader. And it's something we all can be proud of. And plus the fact, we look at clean energy, we also look at what are the economic benefits that we get from it? I mean, let's just take offshore wind as an example. Billions, that's with a B, of dollars are going to be coming into the state of New Jersey. We're going to be creating manufacturing plant here. We're going to create New Jersey as the supply chain for the entire East Coast wind industry. Jobs. So, you have to look at the clean energy as twofold, both sides of the balance sheet. How much is it going to cost? Number one. Number two, what economic benefits are we getting from it? And that's extremely important because it's going to create a lot of jobs, a lot of economic activity that's going to benefit this state.
And when you say clean energy, does clean energy mean not, what does it mean, clean energy? People hear clean energy and they're not quite sure what's clean about it and what is the energy that is clean. Is it energy not produced by fossil fuel?
Exactly. We have to reduce and ultimately eliminate our reliance on fossil fuels. People talk climate change. And, 10 years ago, people would scoff at it. Oh, climate change, no such thing. But scientists are telling us, and the United Nations came out with a report not so long ago that specifically indicated that climate change is code red for humanity. Code red.
Yeah.
And that means, and they're not talking about the next century, they're talking about the next decade. So we have to do things quickly because the greatest legacy we can leave to our future generations is the fact that we did start the initiatives to mitigate the effects of climate change.
And when you talked about energy, is there different kinds of energy? Like you talked about solar energy. Can you tell us how we can transfer to that kind of clean energy as homeowners, let's say?
Yes. And more people are doing that. And where they're actually putting solar panels on their roof. And by putting solar panels on the roof, what they're doing is gradually transferring the generation of power from fossil fuel to sun power, which is clean. It's not creating any problems for our environment. It's making our environment better.
And we can have our constituents reach out to BPU to see if there's any assistance and information with transferring from fossil to more solar power.
Absolutely. njcleanenergy.com.
njcleanenergy.com. And there's another one. When you talk about wind, is that an energy, and how would it work for an average person to have an appreciation and understanding?
Senator, we're in the midst, and this is an exciting time to be living, because we're in the midst of an energy revolution. And I think that's why I haven't retired yet, because
that may be the reason I haven't either, maybe, and hopefully the citizens will keep me going.
And it really is the energy. You want to produce energy in a clean fashion.
Hmm?
Those windmills, those turbines, 10, 15 miles off our coast that eventually will be there, are going to be generating energy, just like oil and coal generate energy. But we don't want the oil and coal to continue to generate energy because of what it's doing to our planet. Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, planet Earth is the only piece of real estate we can live on.
Yes.
So we better take care of it. And so that energy is generated out in the ocean. We then have to provide transmission to the mainland. And just like any other energy, the public services of the world and all the other utilities will be using that energy to supply the heat in your home, to supply the air conditioning in your home, to supply the your stove so you can cook, to supply. So instead of using the fuel from fossil fuel, we want to use the generation from wind and solar as an example, which is clean.
Well, I guess with the wind, we're not in the position of Don Quixote here. These wind, the wind generates that kind of energy, which we consider and call clean energy.
That's right.
Do you think that the more information the public has, the more likely they will want to make the transition to clean energy? Because sometimes it sounds so old, it sounds so like, wow, how do I do it?
Right.
Is it expensive? What really happens? And one thing they always ask, is it reliable? And so that's why I'm so fortunate to have you on, so that the public can understand that, yes, you can get help, you can make that transition, and it's a transition to a reliable and sustainable form of energy.
Yes, and we're doing an awful lot of work. There's a lot of research going on as far as battery storage, so that we can store that energy that the wind is producing or that the sun is producing when we don't need it. So that's extremely important. We're also doing an awful lot of work with electric vehicles. 40% of the carbon that's emitted into the air comes from transportation. That's a big number. And so the electrification of transportation has to be a major thrust in our fight against climate change. So and we provide incentives for that. And it's not only for the Teslas of the world. It's for folks like us who maybe can't afford a Tesla.
Who I know I can't, so.
Yes, right. Our more and more manufacturers are building cars for middle-class Americans that are all electric. So we have incentives for those, and we want people we're attacking the large users of gasoline and so on. We work closely with New Jersey Transit to try to eventually get all of their buses down the road somewhere. It's not going to happen tomorrow. All of their buses to be fully electric. We're providing infrastructure incentives so that people can charge their electric vehicle. We don't want people to have range anxiety. Well, where's the next charger? Am I going to?
That would be yes. Where's the next charger?
Right. So it's just like a gasoline station. Make them as available as a gasoline station.
Yes. Well, I know we've really enjoyed this conversation with you today and all the information you imparted. Do you have any final comments or information for our viewers?
Yes, Senator, thank you. And again, I want to repeat what I said really at the top of our conversation. If you're having difficulty paying your utility bill, whether it's electric bill, whether it's a gas bill, whether it's a water bill, please reach out to your utility company. They are more than willing to sit down and talk with you and set up a payment plan with you that you can afford. If you have difficulty contacting them, call the Board of Public Utilities. We're here to help you. And I'm going to say it again, and it may sound corny, so forgive me, I'm corny. We're a family here. All 9.3 million of us are a family. And We're here to help one another. And when things get tough, family comes and rallies around you. And that's what we're trying to do. But you have to reach out. And there are programs that can help you. So please reach out.
And we have the telephone numbers on the screen and all the information. And I want to thank you very much for joining us, Mr. President, and for this inspiring and enlightening conversation about clean energy, reaching out, and help for all New Jerseyans with respect to their utility bills and all other things. So thank you very much.
And thank you for having me, Senator.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
This is The People's Perspective. I'm Senator Nia Gill, and thank you for watching.